Hi, my name is Evanthia Roussos Torres. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Medical Oncology, and I research the immunogenicity of breast cancer, which is how our collaboration between Karen and I started. I wanted to explain what it is that my lab's research is. And primarily what we do is we look at the immune microenvironment of different subtypes of breast cancer, meaning ER positive, estrogen receptor positive, HER2 positive, and triple negative breast cancer, looking at the different components that contribute to how responsive a tumor is to immunotherapy. And primarily what my work focuses on is how much the different immunosuppressive cell types actually change the microenvironment, which inhibits the ability of T cells, which actually do the primary killing in an immune response. It affects how those T cells respond to immunotherapy. So as I described to Karen when we first met, there are a lot of times when we think about the immunogenicity of a tumor type, we think about hot and cold tumors. So we think about a microenvironment of an immune responsive tumor as being hot. So there are lots of immune cells in that tumor microenvironment that are ripe for being activated by immunotherapy, and thus the immune system can be awakened to attack the tumor. In breast cancer, we're actually dealing with the opposite. These tumors are considered to be cold in that they don't have a lot of immune cells, both suppressive and cytotoxic, meaning both the kind of immune cells that you want there and the kind of immune cells that you don't want there are kind of at the perfect combination that make those tumors cold and therefore very non-immunogenic, which means not responsive to immunotherapy. So my work really focuses on trying to understand what are those different components that make a tumor cold, and how can we change a cold tumor into being a hot tumor and therefore improve response rates to immunotherapy. Ultimately, the goal here is to try and improve treatment options for patients with breast cancer and to try and get what we call durable responses. So not just an immediate anti-tumor effect, but a lasting anti-tumor effect. So how can we retrain the body's immune system to permanently recognize breast cancer as bad, go after it, and eliminate it for years to come? So that's ultimately what the goal is and what we're really trying to understand. So Karen and I, discussed a lot about what it means to be a cold versus a hot tumor and what are the different components. There are various, different types of immune cells. And so I think that was the impetus for the work that Karen created, and that really encompasses the main hypothesis driving my work.
I'm Karen Ruth Karlsson. I'm an artist working in the eastern part of Los Angeles County, and work primarily in encaustic, and I also do printmaking. And when I met with Dr. Roussos Torres, she was very descriptive in, as you've heard, in describing her work and the concept of turning a cold tumor to a hot tumor with a lot of cancer-fighting cells in it. And of course, that immediately brought up images of hot and cold colors, and how that could be reflected in the work I did. And also the images of tumor cells that she shared with me led to the piece I created, which was done in encaustic, and features a cold beginning of the piece at the top, and through getting through just the right passageway gets to hot colors represented by orange and yellow and red blobs of wax at the bottom of the piece. And the piece was really created with the intent of providing a description of the work that Dr. Roussos Torres is doing. I was envisioning something that she could point to, on the wall and say, this is what we do. And so that led to the creation of the piece.
Yeah, and after seeing just the preliminary outcome, I think that's exactly what you've accomplished, Karen. I very much could see myself pointing to that beautiful piece of artwork and saying, this is, if you can visualize what an inflamed tumor looks like, that's what we're trying to get to. And so when you go from those cold, cool colors to the hot, warm colors, that's, the word inflamed, it implies that. And that's what an inflamed tumor is, one that's being attacked by the immune system, which is exactly what we are trying to accomplish here. So I think you very much captured that, the description of what it is that the lab focuses on and what we are trying to do with immunotherapy in general, not just in my lab, but as a field. That is our goal. So congratulations on accomplishing that, and I definitely look forward to using your piece of art in my talks, and I could have it as as the title page, like, this is what our goal is. This.
It was an interesting process because Dr. Roussos Torres and I only met once. So, and we didn't go back and forth. We met, we discussed her work. I went back to my studio, she went back to her lab, and the first time that she saw the piece was like a week and a half ago when I sent the image. So we didn't go back and forth on it. It was just me going off and trying to interpret the work that she's doing.